Okay, so welcome to FoxHen. I'm Joe.
I'm Hannah.
And we were bullshitting a bit before this recording part, and maybe I should take out bullshitting, but I don't really give a shit. So, profanity alert. We like to profane the language.
It's a little late now, but
yeah, I don't.
There it is. Warning.
Warning. Spoilers. We swear a lot. I do, anyway. I think Hannah restrains herself, but
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, well, you know. But anyway. So I guess the topic on that kind of front would be too common advice that really doesn't help at all. Like, oh, you need a 5-year plan, you need a 10-year plan to kind of angle yourself out. But as I was going to kind of rant on for a little bit before we kind of started over was the whole aspect of you have to kind of take whatever opportunity presents itself, and as long as you're throwing yourself out there into the universe, then opportunities just happen. And that really presents a problem if you're trying to do like a 5-year plan. It's kind of nice to have, be like, here's something like, I'm always aspiring to be something better.
Mm-hmm.
This is at least the level of success I want to be at. But in the end goal, the end game there is like all those opportunities along the way that get you there are unexpected because you're asking people, or as you tell people like what you're intending to do or the work that you're doing, then they respond to that like, hey, have you heard about this opportunity over here? Or hey, I have a colleague over here where, you know, they work for like fill in random blank company, Hallmark or American Greetings or, you know, IDEO or something along those huge lines. Like, oh, I have some contacts over here. They could probably hook you up. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to throw myself at that super hardcore. But
yeah, I think as long as you're open to those opportunities and you're not letting your 5-year plan block you, you're fine. I do think it's valid, though, to have somewhat of a vague plan, so that way when you hit the wall one day and nothing's happening, you're like, I can hit this side door over here and try that thing.
Right, and that is a good thing to point out, too, is like a lot of people kind of just ram into the wall and then they stop and like just die. They just die wherever they landed.
Yeah, they're like, I hate my job, but I'm just going to keep doing it because there's no other opportunities. And, you know, if I just keep hitting this wall, then eventually I'll break through it.
Right. Now, to be fair, there is a very clear distinction between the people who just want to bitch and moan about like how shitty their situation is, and there's some people that are genuinely trapped, and they just have to make it day to day. Now, how you help those different kinds of people, God help you. I mean, it's more than just throwing money at them. It's more than giving them opportunities, because they still have to be hungry enough for it when you give it to them.
Right. I'm actually doing a project on that right now for people who are like looking to change careers, people who are hungry for it, like opening up those opportunities for them. I'm doing a big type project on it.
And then as class today, and then we'll have to give some background information about who the fuck we are and like.
And then throw that in at the beginning or something.
Nah, I think
or just randomly right now.
I mean, it's kind of just whatever the flow is.
Yeah.
And then whatever audience we get, they can deal with it. This is FoxHen.
This is us.
It's just we get to the point whenever we get to the point, but you're gonna have to suffer through a lot of stories. I'm sorry, but we're trained by the master of stories himself, Dennis Ryan, and you have a 3-hour class with him, and about 2.9% or 2.9 hours of that, which still doesn't make any goddamn sense.
About 2 hours and like 50 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. I was working on it.
We get there.
2 hours and 50 minutes of that class is him telling you stories of his like past, his kids, or anything else, or like the previous, because everyone's his kids as long as you're a student. But somehow all these things make some kind of tangible sense as long as you connect with that. So prepare for anecdotes. It's just what's going to happen.
More from Joe than me.
I'm sorry. I'm a talker. I'm a terrible talker.
Well, you're the social butterfly.
I'm the social butt of the. So I guess we're
of the jokes.
Background now. All right, so. Man, I don't even know if we could brief anymore.
You are a person who does the designing.
I guess the most important, most relevant thing right now is still a consultant for Unity Lab, even if I'm not on the Unity roster. But
which, pause, Unity Lab is a creative agency up at Lorraine County Community College in the Cleveland area that we helped start about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
I actually put it beautifully yesterday, or like on Wednesday, when I was giving that class discussion. It's like, Unity Lab is a student-operated educational agency at Lorraine County Community College.
Oh, look at you. Yeah, that was very succinct.
Yes.
It was eloquent.
Yes. I put it even more eloquently the previous time. I have it written down, but that's in the car. I'm not going through that to get to my car right now. But, so, yeah, Unity Lab, it's in its second year, and there's some really good people in there in terms of talent. They'll be super successful going forward, too. So that's great. We've made a legacy there. And that's not the most important thing. It was really just giving back to the school, giving back to our mentor, and providing opportunity for people like us who want something a little bit more when the classes that are just available. They want the opportunity to get real experiential learning in a studio setting, which is a really rare opportunity other than internships, and then even internships don't really fully utilize the people they hire. It's usually whatever the main designer's like, I'm too busy for this.
Right.
Take it.
Yeah, it's different when you let people lead projects and see where they take them.
And then you see people learn a lot about themselves that year failed, and they figure out this is not for them. But
which is valid. It's valid if you figure out, like,
right.
You know what, I just can't do it.
Yeah, because of because we had like 12 people who started Unity, and they were all designers except for 1 or 2. And of that, only 4 or 5 continued in design and education in design. And that's fine, because the rest of them went on to figure out what they were doing. They're full-time employed. They're better than they were, and they all got out of the situations they were in. Except for 1. But he's a special case. He's a nice guy, but he's trapped in his own little world. And no offense to him. Just saying, you need to grow up. If you're ever listening to this, you need to stop having your grandma drive you to school. Not okay when you're 23. Shout out. Won't name names, but yeah. Anyway, so that sets the stage of kind of where we're at professionally. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of big name agency kind of credo right now. We haven't worked for IDEO, we haven't worked for Apple, we haven't worked for anything else. But we have made our own studio, we have made our own agency, and that's rare enough. Like, we get plenty of looks like, you did what?
We've done some pretty cool stuff through that, though. Like, we handled a crazy ton of clients.
There was about 70 total clients, both internal to Lorraine County Community College and external in the local area.
Within a year, yeah.
Yeah, within a year. And that was in terms of startup. And those projects ranged from websites to logos to 3D projects to installation projects. Not all of them were good. Some of them were quite terrible. The terrible ones we did learn the most on, though, as you tend to do. Like, I'm not doing that again.
The contract got a little bigger.
Yeah. We should maybe make sure our contracts very tight, because we thought we had it like Loctite, but then we found out it was not. And that was a problem.
It's better to learn those things earlier, though.
Right. The real challenge of all that, though, is working in a bureaucracy. That was the biggest challenge. Working as a for-profit in a non-profit, that's a bureaucracy. There's just levels of not okay throughout that entire process that made it very difficult to kind of exist other than having to sprint ahead and then ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now it's kind of in a state where it has to hold the line and then wait for the next sprint forward.
I was glad we were ahead in the sprinting group, though, because we got to do some fun side stuff.
Oh, yeah. We ran the first ever art festival on campus.
Mm-hmm.
We had a pretty sweet Halloween gallery.
Those boot camps, though?
The boot camps were fantastic. We got to network with some fantastic young artists at the Sandusky Visual Artists Association. I know that's incorrect.
Sandusky Visual School of Arts.
There you go.
Yes.
Very talented young group of individuals. I can really see that the future of illustration, design, like it's still alive and kicking as much as everyone wants to shit on, like the young kids don't know what they're doing anymore. Now, one caveat critique as an old man on this front would be that a little too much Steven Universe, but I get it, because when I remember when I was their age, I was drawing like anime from Toonami. So
old.
I know.
Toonami,
yes. That's what I was drawing when I was their age. Like, oh, Outlaw Star, DBZ, yes.
See, I never did any of that, like, cartoon drawing stuff when I was younger. Like, I was drawing, like, fashion sketches, maybe, or, like, figuring out how to write different things, doing, like, mini comics with stick figures.
Yeah.
But no, like, thematic sketches.
Well, right. For me, though, I was hardcore illustrating because as a kid, a lot of the games I played, not just video games, because it was heavily inspired by like Final Fantasy, Legend of Zelda, Mario, those kinds of things. A lot of war games, too. But as a bunch of terrible children in Minnesota just running around rampantly, because we still went outside in those days, with less of the, like...
Way back when.
The helicoptering mom and dads of today, where it's like, we want your kids dropped off at your front door, because God help us if they go anywhere other than, like, 10 feet away from the yard, because 20 pedophiles will come crawling out of the bushes and swallow up our children.
Stay in your safety pen of the house, Tom.
Right.
Stay in there.
Right. Like, I don't get it. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, old man rant. But we played the video games, and then we played it, like, in a live action, like, you know, LARP, but, like, kids, when it's slightly more acceptable.
Just slightly.
But at least, like, the LARP people go, like, balls deep, like, full armor, like, swords, like, that's the kind of stuff I can respect. Not so much like I have a cardboard tube with tape on it and like cardboard armor. Like, okay. Like, have some sense of pride. You're an adult now. Wear like some cool armor. Like, yeah. Yes. Own it. That's the thing. It's like that's half-assing it. You gotta own it.
You gotta full-ass it.
Yes. Yeah. Don't half-ass anything. Well, I take that back. See, back to the original point of bad advice. Some things you can half-ass, and it's great. But the things that really matter, you gotta full-ass it. Maybe even double-ass it. Like, just really get in there with an ass.
This requires taking a friend and helping you, apparently.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So what can you half-ass, Joe?
Oh, God. Putting me on the spot now.
Well, since you said it.
I know. And I knew it was coming, because I suspect I should have validated, like, what's okay to half-ass and what's okay to full-ass. not to be crude, but like easy projects. Just like, oh, I need like things that a client should really go to Fiverr for. Like, I just need like a logo of a butterfly. Like, that's the thing you can fart out in an hour, and then they'll be happy with whatever you make.
See, even then though, it depends on what it is. Like, I've had the butterfly client, okay? So, the half-ass version gives me an image. I want this exact same image. It's my image. I drew it, but I just want it in a logo form. Okay. Scan it in, trace it, make some color happen, and then add some type.
Right.
The full assing comes in with, I want a butterfly, it needs to be awesome.
Right.
Which we always work under the assumption that everything needs to be awesome.
Right.
When given the opportunity.
Right. Okay. So now we're qualifying the definition of half-assing and full-assing, which is another important qualifier in this specific consideration. When we're saying half-assing, it's not like, and you're done. It's like you still go through enough of the routines to make sure that it's like great.
It's still portfolio worthy. Everything.
Right. Everything is portfolio.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're talking about full-assing,
this is like in-depth.
This gets into the design thinking stuff and like true design where you're working side by side with your client. You're trying to get into the mindset. You're doing some research in the field. You're figuring out like what's been done before, how to avoid it or how to steer into it a little bit more. And then you're trying to solve problems before they arise. There's this whole method and finesse that goes in behind it, but you don't really get to see in a final product.
Right.
I like Mike Compton, he's one of our teachers, way of putting it is like most clients only see like the heel of the loaf of bread that actually went into making that process. And there's this whole other bit of that loaf that you actually do to make it. That's the problem. Is full-assing it requires a whole lot of work.
I still show all that work, unlike some people though.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to.
Do a presentation.
Yeah. I mean, if you do it properly, then your client is there every step of the way as well. They're invested in it. They're happy with you. And then that's when the testimonials really start to kick in because it's a true testimonial. Not just like, oh yeah, they made a really cool butterfly.
Because you put some meaning into what it is.
Right.
Made a connection.
Right, it's not just, I made a cool butterfly. It's like, I found this specific butterfly from where they grew up. This is what they, like when they were 5 years old, it was this butterfly that stopped them from running into the street. It was that specific one. And then that made them make the decision to be like a traffic guard or something like that. Like something.
Because every traffic guard needs a logo.
Well, I mean more in terms of like maybe like traffic guard services or something, like a safety services or a safety consultant. Something along those lines of more meaningful work. Not that I'm saying traffic guarding is not meaningful work. My
but
God.
Something worthy of a logo, so the organization that person is working for.
Right.
Not just be like, Joe Schmo over here, the crossing guard is like, yeah.
And it's not just a cheesy story. Like, it's an actual meaningful story that connects with the geographic location, with the owner, and the company he keeps, as well as everything that goes into that. The whole, like, we could wax poetic about this kind of topic for hours, about, like, just what goes into this work and why it's so powerful.
Right.
But, I mean, there's other things to talk about, too. Mm-hmm. Or we could talk about that. I don't know.
I like half-ass and full-ass work, you know?
Right. So are we sticking with half-assing and full-assing for the time being?
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
All right. Well, where do you want to go next with half-assing and full-assing?
How about our, like, favorite full-ass projects?
Oh, well, favorite full-ass projects. Unity Lab.
Yes. And within those, the events we did.
Right. Because we really wanted to make Unilab a stellar experience, not just for the students who were involved in the project, but we did want to really set the tone for the future of kind of like Northeast Ohio a little bit, where we could get the local high schools and get those students excited, and then hopefully that percolates down, like a true trickle-down kind of experience where they know there's some place to go, but it's not going to bankrupt them, that will actually give them a meaningful experience and meaningful resume and portfolio, and like a teacher that actually gives a shit about them. And that's a rare enough commodity in this world, because it's either just like production, or it's about presentation. And Dennis Ryan does this amazing balance between the two, where you learn enough about how to handle yourself as a business entity, and you couple that with this amazing, like, you're forced to do presentations for entrepreneurial events, so that way you have to rub elbows with other people in a business setting, and then you can kind of gauge where you're sitting in that kind of spectrum. You have public speaking skills, you make your resumes, and then you get this, even if you don't full-ass the class, you at least have a half-assed understanding of, like, when you do full-ass it eventually, like, okay, these were these things that I need, and now I can spend the time to do it, because now I know it's like a serious thing.
Right.
So, for Unity, it was, again, extrapolating that whole experience and giving it back.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to incorporate and empower the school, the community, and also the students we knew would eventually be filtering into the school as well. And so every project we handed specifically was with that mindset in mind. Not to be repetitive in that sentence.
Yeah, the biggest things for me were the outreach opportunities that we got. I'm sure, like, pretty much every Northeastern Ohio art teacher was annoyed by my emails at some point.
Yeah.
Because there were so many.
Yeah.
Because there was so much going on that we're trying to, like, make happen for people, but I met such amazing teachers, too.
Right. They were just, all of them were, like, fantastically, like, optimistic and, like, peppy about it, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, once you actually got to meet them, it's just like, hang on, my kids don't know what you're about yet, but, you know, just give them a chance. And then you interact with them, and then you see the sparks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing like any teacher or, like, motivational speaker or lecturer talks about. It's like, yeah, it's very obvious when you see people just, like, shut off, like, whatever.
Which is fine. If you are working hard in other things, or you got other passions in your life and you want to shut off for a while.
Right.
You don't have to listen to me talk. That's fine.
Right. But then you see those people who had, like, that epiphany moment. Their eyes are locked on you, sparking, and they're intense. They're just like, I want to wring every bit of information out of you for as long as you're here.
Which is also kind of scary at one point, too.
It is.
That someone is, like, so intent on every word.
Right. They're hanging on everything that you're saying, literally.
And you're seeing it happen, you're like, oh, man.
Right. And you're like, and then you step up your game, because you realize, like, because then you're going from that half-ass mode, like, okay, they're not listening. I'll give them the basic information, and then it'll be useful to them. Then you have full-ass it. It's like, now you're speaking specifically, you're telling the anecdotes, you're telling the stories that are meaningful and why it's important, and the experiences that were important to you that made you who you were.
Yeah.
And you're speaking directly to those people and hoping that somewhere along the line, or even if you just became that moment for them, which is a scary thought. We may have had that kind of influence on one or two people already, which isn't much.
No.
But, you know.
I'll take it, though. If there's one person in my life that I touched and they were like, oh, man, that person, I don't even remember the name, but they were cool.
Which, that gets to be a double-edged sword, too, because then we were talking about terrible clients a little bit. Is like, you get trapped in those kinds of situations too when you want to full-ass it for people who really see you as a leader or mentor. But you know the situation sucks. And you're just trapped in it. But that's the kind of thing that gets you through those situations.
It takes a lot to be a bad client, though. Like, because you can deal with a lot. Like, you know, when you get into any kind of creative field, you're freelancing,
right?
Really any job, you know there's going to be bad moments.
There's a very specific set of criteria that a client needs to hit to be truly god-awful. And really, like, the biggest one is being a hypocrite. Being the biggest hypocrite on the planet. Like, saying one thing to, like, everyone around you, and then the next moment you see how big of a lie that whatever they said was. Like, I don't want to go down the anecdote alley on this one.
No specifics on
that. But hypocritical, abusive, and they take advantage of every little advantage they can get.
Right, and these aren't like going on the hypocritical thing. It's not saying something that it's just general hypocrisy of like, you know, I really hate salad, and then you see them eating salad over there.
Right.
This is like, I have fundamental issues with this, so we can't do it, and then they're like at a fundraiser supporting that thing. You're like, but
right.
Wait, our whole campaign is based off of this thing.
Or praising the heavens for like a certain group of people, and then at the same time you're seeing them just abusing the shit out of the same kind of people.
Right.
Working type of people. That's as far as I'll go on that.
Yeah, that's specific enough. You get the vibe, but
yeah.
You know.
So yeah, and then in terms of taking every advantage they can, everyone does that. But this is to the point of like you're already in a position of power in these circumstances when you're this kind of client. Like you already have every advantage to begin with.
And those people are abusing that power.
Yeah. Like, oh, I don't want to pay you for half what I've done, so I'm just not going to.
Which every designer gets screwed at some point.
Right.
But if this is a consistent problem with that kind of person.
Yeah. Like this isn't just saying like you had a bad contract. This is like you had a pretty good contract, and even then they read all the fine print to just make sure they could screw you out of some bit. Like, okay, they didn't cover this, so I'm going to make sure I extract as much as I can from this.
Which, this isn't being greedy, it's how people like us make a living.
Right.
So we're not, when we make our rates and our prices, we think about how it feels on the other end to pay that.
Yeah.
So we're not being ridiculous, we just know what the work is worth.
Right. Exactly. And then blackmailing is another thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't blackmail any people you hire, ever.
Yeah. And there's a whole lot of things I could give you advice on to how to do it better.
Yes.
Because it was really stupid, the people who have done this to us, the way they did it. So it didn't work at all, mind you. But I'm not going to give anyone the kind of advice that kind of like, I need to blackmail someone, so let me just not do this thing.
Right. It's really negative, and we should talk about what it means to be an awesome client.
Oh,
instead.
Well, an awesome client?
Yes.
Okay.
The perfect formula for, like, our best clients ever.
They're super rich, and they pay us for everything, and they're super understanding.
Not even that, though. Like,
I'm just kidding.
For me, like, I'm in design for an ego. I have an ego.
No.
Yes.
We both have an ego.
I have an ego. But, so, like, when it comes to money, I'm not as concerned as long as my bills are getting paid.
Yeah.
It's more, like, I want to make people really happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I want clients that are as enthusiastic about the projects as I am.
Yeah, I want them to be there every step of the way with me. I want them to be as engaged. Like, if in between meetings, if they came up with some cool new ideas, like, hey, I was really thinking about this till like 5 a.m. every night in the past week, And I had this epiphany about like what it really means to me, and I just want to spitball it with you for a minute. And if a client does that, it's like, okay.
Like,
yes.
wow, I am so not sad to make those changes for you because you're really into this.
Yeah, you know exactly what you want, you found it, and now that you're engaged, you'll be able to give me the honest critique. That's another thing. Like being able to give honest and good critique.
Yeah, if you hate something, say it.
Yeah.
Just be like, wow, like, I didn't think you were going to make that, and, you know, it's not horrible, but it's not me.
Right, and then we understand, like any good designer should understand, like you may not have the language to kind of engage on a proper level, but you need to be able to express, like, I don't like it. And not just because you're trying to get out payment, again, that goes to that client thing, but just because, like, you know something's not sitting right with you, like, and it's not just because it looks bad, like, oh, you just say that, like, wow, that's really not what I was expecting. Not disrespectful, like, my 5-year-old or my high schooler could have drawn better. Like, man.
Maybe your high schooler could have. Maybe they're the next design prodigy. But don't tell that to someone that's just like...
Right. I mean, maybe that designer had a really bad day.
Yeah. Just be like, hey, that's really not what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Can we go another round?
Right. Can we sit down and talk about it? That's the main thing, is, like, be willing and sit down and take an hour to talk with your designer. And
communication is key, especially when there's issues.
Right.
So people who love to talk, awesome clients.
Right. That's another thing. Like, write that check mark down, is like awesome clients, communicative. Because the worst kind of clients, again, not to be negative, sorry, but when you're given a project and then you drop off the face of the earth for 6 months and then you're wondering, where's the deliverable?
Which any, good designer that's full-assing their project will, with some point in that 6 months, email you at least.
Right.
With the files and say, here, this is what I've done so far, what we've agreed upon.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, the designer should have at least gotten to the point of where you were last talking to them.
Right. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you don't.
You can't just
it.
check off.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just check out for 6 months and then demand where is this thing
without saying anything. If
right.
you need to take a 6 month sabbatical and you're just like, I can't do this right now, put contract in hold. Call up your creative and just be like, hey, I'm going away.
Communication. It's fantastic.
You don't just leave your job, in the middle.
You're not guilty. You don't feel bad. Like, oh man, I'm leaving like Bobby Designer, like hanging, and it's just hanging over me every day.
Mm-hmm. But
now it's been like 3 months, and now I just feel so guilty, and he's gonna be really mad when I contact him. No, you just at some point you gotta be like, okay, I'm sorry. This isn't working out. Just give me what you got. Thank you. We'll go our separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's acceptable. Just communication. That's like, if you want to be an awesome client, like that's like the only thing you need, almost really. Is just be communicative and being willing to talk things through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Enthusiasm, like the cherry on top for me.
Right.
That's really why I get up in the morning to design.
Yeah. Not just because we're super awesome and we really love doing the things we do, but, it's like, it really is that kind of feedback and feeding off the energy that you're given in the very project, and seeing how excited people are when they're given. You're basically making their dreams come true. You're taking something that's abstract and unreal, and you're making it something that's very real for them.
Mm-hmm.
And in every circumstance, when you really make that connection with your clients and making connections with other designers, even, it's like that's the one common thread that underlies all of it. And for like the real good designers, the ones that really give a shit, the full-ass designers, if you will, is like, it's those moments where they make those connections and they make those differences in people's lives. And I guess it is a common thread a lot too, because not a lot of designers go into design for money. I mean, they do.
The money's nice, you know.
The money's nice.
Pays the bills, just like any other.
Any other art field, though. It's like you don't get a lot of support going into it. It's like you're not going to be a doctor, you're not going to be a lawyer, you're not going to be an engineer. Like, what are you doing with your life? There's no money there. And that's not what it's about. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of designers who make millions of dollars. And there's lots of people who make like maybe $10,000 a year or less.
It's a side hobby, then less. Mm-hmm.
But it is an outlet for us as creative people who really love to do art and work with our hands and work with people. It is the number one outlet for us to be able to get out there, connect with people, and just do things that may not be world-changing, but they change the worlds we live in.
Right. It makes a difference for like one person.
Right.
So I was saying earlier, like if we change the life of like one young designer that like listened to us talk, I'm good.
Oh.
I'm good for life.
Oh yeah. Me too. Like that.
Even if it was just like, I'm going to take an extra art class because that seems like a cool idea. Like, that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally, like, 100%. Which, you know, as working business partners, we don't always agree. I want to make that clear.
But I'm always right.
She usually is. Unless we're driving. I mean, I'm usually right.
Fair.
I have to have one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me have it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. But yeah, making that difference.
Yeah. So for designers, we tend to talk between designers and to clients, apparently, potential clients, in this whole situation.
Yeah, I'm so sorry if you're getting, like, whiplash on this one, but, I mean...
So for designers, to get these amazing clients, it's a lot of, like, finding that first client, and then networking from there. Because if you do a full-ass job on whatever work you can get your hands on, even if it's small, people take notice of that.
Right.
And you get the testimonial.
Right.
If you have a testimonial of someone being like, wow, they just got it.
Right.
And I didn't have to really fight with them over anything.
Right.
That means the world to the next person that sees that testimonial.
Right. And a real crucial point on this one, too, in terms of full-assing, is because you don't really get a lot of straight answers on this point either. There's no, like, super secret silver bullet that kills every project or level of competency or skill that kind of determines it. It's wake up every day and be thinking about that project. Write things down. Well, like I was almost going to say, write things down while you're in the shower, but please don't be writing things in the shower. But, you know, like...
Unless you're scrolling in, like, hair on the shower for later or some weird thing.
Yeah.
Then you do you.
Yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, just don't write with, like, your blood or something on the wall. Like, like, oh,
no. Yeah. Please don't do that.
Yeah, no. Maybe, okay. You can squirt shampoo in the wall and then maybe make a super cool, like, typographic thing. Take some real good Instagram posts and, like, link that to us, because I'd like the hell to see it.
Yeah, hashtag FoxHen Love, then.
Yeah, shit. Anyway, so, with the understanding that there is no silver bullet, again, spend a significant amount of time just doing. Make sketches. Make, like, journals and readings and writing. Reading and writing. Okay, we'll get into that point later, but it's crucial to being, like, a real designer. Like, you need to be willing to write. You need to be willing to read. And you may not like it at first, but at some point, like, there's this tipping point in your brain where, like, suddenly you realize, like, it's more communication.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Communication. It all goes back to communication is key. But yeah. So reading, writing, sketching, super important. And no matter your level of technical skill, like if you can't hack it on a computer, start watching tutorials. And if you just don't want anything to do with a computer, then figure out, like, watch some tutorials on how to do it, like, manually. Maybe
you're a mural artist.
Yeah.
And that's all by hand.
Yeah. Like, get the proper tools or make them yourself. Just get out there, get doing, and then people really appreciate, no matter what it is or how bad or good it is, they appreciate it if you've been putting every ounce of your energy into that project because you care. And that's it. Like, if you wake up every morning and then you're like, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, I'm just going to play games instead all day.
Which is fine. You're allowed to have days like that.
Yeah.
Take a break. Do not overwork yourself. But most of the time, you should be, like, excited to work on the projects that you have.
Right. I'm not saying to kill yourself every day. Everyone needs a break.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like,
90% of the time, you should be really excited about your job. Because you have an amazing job if you're a creative.
Right. I mean, there's really nothing like it. Like any other job, you're asked to plug in an equation day in and day out, and then that's kind of it. Mm-hmm. I need this many sales. I just need you to call this many people. I need you to flip this many burgers. I need you to clean the machines. I need you to,
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, being an artist, a designer, or any kind of creative field, it's not glamorous.
And a creative doesn't necessarily mean, like, a stereotypical, like, arts field.
Right.
A creative person could be, like, a salesperson who's just done a bomb job because they figured out different ways to sell to people.
Right. Yeah.
Because they love what they do.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can make any job creative. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you just wake up and then it's just another dollar another day, and then you're miserable, and if you're looking forward to the weekend and that's it, then you should probably reconsider what you're doing. Because we don't really have weekends. So I look forward to weekends for the sake
of working on other things.
Yeah, like I'm going to work on a really cool project this weekend because, I mean, going back to Unity, we had our boot camps where we're helping these high school students. We took our Saturdays. Mm-hmm. Once a month, every Saturday.
Unpaid, just, got some pizzas for the kids that showed up.
Yeah.
Taught them how to do some technical design and how to do design thinking, and then we'd design alongside of them and do critiques. And
yeah, maybe that is that one cliche that still holds true, but there is no free time.
Yeah. I don't think I'd really want free time, though.
Well,
not like true free time where I have nothing to do.
Right.
Because I just want to fill it with other design stuff.
Right. I mean the levels of no free time, too. It's
right.
We only have so much time on this earth, unfortunately or fortunately. So every minute you get to do something is another minute you'll never have ever again. So fill it, for God's sakes, with the things you love to do. And fill it with people you love to be around. Just waxing poetic again. It sounds like the last podcast ever, like, oh, bye. Sorry, because I'll probably get on these tangents again in the future, I'm sure. But, it's true. Because I really can't think of any other field I'd rather be in.
No, I found the happy spot.
Yeah. And then everyone deserves to find that.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
People keep asking me, like, lately, like, how did you know you wanted to be a designer? Like, did you, like, stumble upon it, or did you have, like, where you planned it out? And, like, for me, like, finding a career was, like, I knew it when I saw it.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you're looking for, like, just the right shirt to wear to, like, an interview, you're like, I'll know it when I see it. And that's
Right.
kind of how it happened.
Yeah, I mean, my path was far more circuitous. I know Hannah hates listening to the story, like, every week. I'm so sorry for you, Hannah.
It's okay. You want me to tell it?
I mean, you probably could at this point, but it might be useful for people.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair? Should I?
Go ahead. Give the Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes. Okay.